Hi, this is Bob Pockrass, and welcome to SceneDaily.com's Pre-Race Rundown, looking ahead to the Sprint All-Star Race this weekend at Lowe's Motor Speedway. All-Star Race? Isn't every race weekend in NASCAR an All-Star Race? Well, it kind of is, since you have all the great drivers there in one spot, but this race is no points, and there'll only be 21 drivers in the main event. How do we get to 21 drivers? Well, 16 of them have qualified as winners since the start of the 2008 season. You have Ryan Newman, the winner of the 2008 Daytona 500, Carl Edwards, Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, Jimmy Johnson, Clint Bowyer, Kasey Kahne. They're all in. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is in. Yes, don't forget, he won at Michigan last year in June. You got Kurt Busch, Greg Biffle, Tony Stewart, Matt Kenseth, Jeff Gordon, Mark Martin, and Talladega winner Brad Keselowski. Keselowski is the only automatic qualifier who has never been in the main event before. You have one guy who's qualified as a previous All-Star Race winner in the last 10 years, that's Kevin Harvick, and one past Cup champion from the last 10 years in Bobby Labonte. That gives us 18 drivers, and 3 others will be determined on Saturday night. All those who are not automatically qualified for the main event will compete in the Sprint Showdown, a 40-lap race, and the top 2 from that event will qualify for the main event. The last spot is left open to the fans who have voted online. A driver who isn't among the 20 in the main event, he gets in if he has the most votes and has finished on the lead lap of the Sprint Showdown. Dale Jarrett and Terry Labonte are eligible for the race, but they are not competing. Now this race has some different rules. First off, for the Showdown is 2 20-lap segments with an optional pit stop in between. The All-Star Race is 100 laps, starting with a 50-lap segment, which includes a mandatory green flag pit stop where teams must change 4 tires. After that 50-lap segment, the yellow will fly and teams can pit at their own expense. There'll be a 20-lap segment and the yellow will fly again and teams can pit at their own expense. And then another 20-lap segment. So then we've completed 90 laps. There'll be a 10-minute break. Drivers will come down pit road. Teams can work on the cars. They'll restart in the way they finished that last segment, and you'll have a 10-lap final dash for the $1 million. Apparently, NASCAR doesn't want pit strategy to come into play like it did last year. That's why they've set it up this way. Last year, Kasey Kahne took no tires prior to the final 25-lap segment. He went from 7th to 2nd, passed Denny Hamlin with 17 laps to go, and went on to the win. This is not the race for pit strategy to determine who wins. The pit crews get to shine on Thursday night at the Pit Crew All-Star Challenge. The finishing order of the Pit Crew All-Star Challenge determines how teams determines the order that the teams will pick their pits for Saturday night's event. Now, of course, the All-Star Race has other big events. You have the Burnout Contest. You also have a Montgomery Gentry concert. And finally, you'll get to the big event on Saturday night. Who has the best chance to win? Well, Jeff Gordon's won 3 times. Mark Martin and Jimmy Johnson have won twice. Kasey Kahne, Kevin Harvick, Matt Kenseth, Ryan Newman, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. have all won the All-Star Race. And even 2 guys in the Showdown are previous All-Star Race winners, Michael Waltrip and Bill Elliott. Now, often during the pre-race rundown, I'll talk about who has the most top 5s or top 10s at the track. But you know what? In this case, who cares? Only 20 to 25 drivers often compete in the event. And last year, Greg Biffle finished 2nd, and he didn't even win $250,000. So if you can't win, you might as well use this race as a test session for the Coca-Cola 600 the following week. Now, who really needs to have a good Coca-Cola 600? Well, we'll talk about that in next week's preview. But please don't forget, this weekend, follow live observations on race day on SceneDaily.com. And daily, you can follow observations of our SceneDaily.com staff on Twitter at twitter.scenedaily.com. Thanks again for joining us. Enjoy the All-Star Race, and please join us again next week when we look ahead to the Coca-Cola 600.